Moving up here to number 2 on the list, we have Radcom, RDCM, trailing 12 of only 21 million and market cap of 210. I think the smallest firm in our or in the Samadhi Capital Partners portfolio, and certainly the smallest firm on our 2017 top 10 tech acquisition picks. Guaylon, this is one that you've been taking a pretty good look at. What's attractive about Radcom?
A great pick by him.
So yeah, we've owned this company for actually about 6 months, and it's done fairly well. We got into the name initially because these guys clearly had the best product offering that will be necessary as the large communication service providers move to from a physical network environment to more of a virtualized network functioning environment. Right. And the probe monitoring, the Maverick IQ product that Radcom offers is two to 3 years ahead of the competition, and it's a necessary component as these communication service providers transition to this virtualized environment.
Complicated. It's not easy to replicate.
Right. As John mentioned, it's a very complicated kind of product offering that isn't easy to replicate. From an acquisition standpoint, it makes sense for a whole host of players, and it's largely. If you look at all the partnerships that Radcom has, they're partnered with HP, they're partnered with Amdocs. They just got a pretty significant win with AT&T, where it's a $50 million opportunity over 3 years, and
a customer win with AT&T.
A customer win with AT&T, and right now they're in 9 product trials with other communication service providers, and I think it was pretty compelling when one of the largest service providers in AT&T kind of came out and said, "Look, we're going with Radcom. We like their technology." It was kind of in my mind, it was a blessing or a
great validation.
Yep, great product validation from on AT&T's part. So we wouldn't be surprised that if they're fairly successful in these 9 product trials that they're going through right now, and as a result, they're partnering with the companies who see their success and see the differentiation they have with their products.
And see the potential revenue. It's not just growth; it's real acceleration.
Yep.
Because that's the way network equipment kind of goes. It's like it is a little lumpy, but when you're on one of the upsides of a big lump, right? That's revenue does 3x, 4x, 5x. It's not unheard of. It happens. It happened. We saw it in the 90s, and in selective areas over the last, say, decade and a half in the network equipment space, and we think Radcom is one of the niche players, but it's a really critical niche that you need when you want to start to virtualize your network elements, as well as the signaling that's going to be necessary, whatever you do, when carriers go to 5G. And I think they're going to go to 5G faster than people. I think it's going to be. You're going to see 5G trials before 2020. I think so. Not just trials, like real trials.
Well, I think that the service providers have to compete. Have to continue to keep up with AT&T, and so they are, from a timing standpoint, incentivized to transition to that network function, the virtualization environment that we talked about earlier. And from an acquisitions, perspective, the company's real small, is growing earnings, growing revenue at 50% over the next 3-4 years, and that's not even assuming any of these product trials. That's not an aggressive assumption on these guys winning some of these product trials. Right. And it should be noted that they're competing with nobody. They're competing with themselves.
Yeah,
so.
Right.
Great position to be in. Especially for somebody like Radcom. That John, you mentioned the last decade and a half in the 90s. Radcom is one of those firms.
They've been around for a long time.
They have. They have literally reinvented themselves a couple of times.
Yeah.
Which I think shows strongly for for not just their engineering talent. But for management, to be able to understand what's changing in the marketplace and to keep alive in this marketplace. So Radcom, they are a member of the Samadhi 16, our high conviction category in the Samadhi Capital Partners client portfolio, which brings us to the number one pick in our top 10 tech M&A picks for 2017. Although I will say right now, we do have an 11th because just like Spinal Tap, this list goes to 11.